recording in progress. Okay, alright, and then we continue with chapter 5. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, okay, this is my okay. So in chapter 5, chapter 5, okay, we there will be 2 slides, okay, 2 chapter, alright. So involving part of chapter 5 general economic, okay, 5.1, 5.2 and 5.3. Okay, so in this topic I have recorded earlier, okay, and then you can refer to my slides lah. Okay, so basically this is your topic lah, part 1. Alright, so basically in this chapter, this topic, okay, you can refer to my channel lah kat sini, okay. Alright, so basically in chapter 5 there will be 8, it's about 8 subtopic, subtopic, okay, starting from the fundamental concept of demand, supply and price, up to perfect competition, oligopoly and monopoly. Okay, and then we discuss also what is a GDP, gross domestic product. Kalau bahasa Melayu kita panggil kadar keluaran negara kasar. Okay, so this term is used to measure the economic growth for Malaysia lah. And then we have the national income and expenditure, concept of inflation and productivity, cost of living, types of finance, and lastly will be calculator apps. This is just only the simple apps that you can use. Okay, alright, so 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, as I mentioned earlier, you can refer to my video channel part 1. Okay, so today we focus on part 2 lah. Okay, part 2, which is the national income, expenditure, cost of inflation, productivity, cost of living, financing, this is the financing, and also lastly calculator app for financial management. Okay, so this is the another topic. Okay, alright, so this is some mistake. This is chapter 5, not chapter 4. Alright, so okay, so we can proceed. So stay with me. If you have any question, you can interrupt me at any time. I will try my best to serve your inquiries. Alright, so we are about 111 slides. Okay, alright. Okay, so we move on into the first topic, which is the inflation and recession and productivity. Okay, so this is the term. Currently people talking about inflation. Okay, so what is inflation? Okay, so basically inflation normally refer to the price of goods. Okay, when you go to the supermarket, the market, hypermarket, and so on and so forth, you will see that the price has been increased. Okay, and currently if you notice, the price of chicken is also increased, the price of vegetables also increased. Okay, that means that the government make an effort to import the chicken and vegetables, okay, to increase to supply the demands. So what is a price inflation? Okay, price inflation is increase of price or it costs more to purchase the same item. That we call it as a price inflation. Okay, and then another is money inflation. Okay, so what is a money inflation? Is an increase in money supply, which is the currency is losing its purchase power, and increase in item or service price. Okay, alright. Maybe some of us, including me, years before. Okay, why there is a inflation, right? So the most disadvantage of the inflation is the price increment. Okay, which means that you need to buy your facilities, you need to buy your supply, also the price is increased. Okay, For example, here in 1978 to 2012, okay, this is your basic salary, and also this is the basic for 2012. Okay, you can see the tremendous increment, but also the facilities around you also increase. Okay, so this increment is being caused by the inflation. Okay, so we have pro and cons. Okay, the cons is all will be rise up. Okay, but for you, what you can do, okay, the whether you like it or not, the price is still go up. So what you want to do, what you have to do. Okay, so the most interesting chapter, the most interesting is that we will continue this in chapter 6, which is we have the finance. Okay, we can calculate, we can determine why and how the price go up with the effect of interest rate. We call it as a time value of money. Okay, so that we discuss further in chapter 6, finance. Okay, I will show you how you can deal with the inflation, how you can gain advantage on the interest rate, okay, and then what you can do to manage yourself in the future. Okay, stay tuned. Alright, so further reading, you can refer to this YouTube link. Okay, hang, sorry. Okay, alright, inflation, supply and demand. So basically we need to know the first thing lah. What is inflation? Okay, as I mentioned earlier, this inflation can be described as too much money chasing too few goods, which means that your demand is increasing, the goods is decreasing. Okay, and then there will be some link for each other. Okay, inflation, supply and demand. Okay, in the previous chapter, chapter 5, we have discussed what is the correlation between supply and demand. Okay, you can refer to my previous video. Okay, alright, so inflation versus recession. So normally the certain inflation will increase, will affect to the recession, but zero inflation also will affect to the recession also, because the economy cannot grow. Okay, the inflation keep your economy growth because there is certain demand and the certain supply, which means that it's being affected by the inflation. Okay, your inflation will keep your economic growth, but too much inflation will also induce the recession. Okay, and also the very low inflation also will affect to the recession. So what is a recession? So recession is a general slowdown in the overall economic activity and registered as a drop in GDP, gross domestic product, which is the overall country domestic product. Okay, so detailed recession you can follow to this YouTube channel. Okay, so how do inflation and recession affect us? First of all, it will reduce purchasing power. Okay, increasing inflation, so which means that the cost of goods keep on increasing. Okay, it's very expensive, which means that we cannot buy that goods for a certain time time. Okay, so that reduced purchasing power will affect to the community as a whole, the society as a whole. So basically it will affect to the recession lah. And then encourage us to spend and invest more. Okay, due to a certain economic growth. Okay, the economic cannot be growth when you keep on saving for yourself. The money need to be spent, because the economic will use the money spent by you to keep on going. Okay, but if you cannot afford to buy your goods, to buy your basic facilities, okay, it will induce the recession lah. Okay, alright, sorry. Okay, alright. So another thing is that they increase the employment level. Okay, so basically when there is the inflation, okay, which means that the price is keep coming up. Okay, so that price coming up is a opportunity to make money. Okay, then when you take the money to make money, of course the employment level will be keep rising. Okay, because they need to produce more goods in order to make more profit. Okay, and then if the last the another point is that they eat into your long term saving. Okay, so basically if you are a long term saving, okay, so the inflation can be a problem. Okay, because you put your money here, okay, another 20 years from now, okay, your money is not coming up, but your money keeps on dropping its value. Okay, we will discuss this further on chapter 6, financing, why your money keep on reducing or increasing. Okay, alright, and then we continue with the cost of employment. Okay, so basically employment is the employability. Okay, the country employability. Alright, so basically it we normally affected by the economic growth. Okay, so the inflation definitely will affect to the unemployment. Okay, so the cost of employment, the basic cost of employment is much lower income. Okay, so the unemployed have to rely on unemployment benefit, and they will see a drastic fall in income. Okay, another thing is that the psychological cost. Okay, so basically unemployment is one of the biggest cause of stress. Okay, but this is a certain for certain types of people lah, which means that unemployment means, okay, you must know the basic definition. What is unemployment? Unemployment means that a person who seek a job but he cannot find the job. Okay, so it's not only the a person who are not working is unemployed. No, this definition is only a person who seek a job, okay, but he cannot find the job lah. It's not the right job, he cannot find a job. Okay, so a person who are not intend to work is not unemployed. Bahasa kampung kita panggil pemalas. But this person is not on the unemployment statistic. Okay, alright, so that's why for a person who seek a job that they cannot find the job, they will have a psychological cost. Okay, then from the psychological we have a social problem. Okay, basically is a impact towards the society lah. Okay, and then higher government borrowing in order to a person to live, so they need some we call it as a government support. Okay, so higher number of employment, they will increasing the government borrowing lah. Okay, to maintain the unemployment personnel. Okay, and then lastly we have the negative spiral lah. Okay, alright, so you can refer to this YouTube channel for further reading. Okay, and then you have the another current situation is about COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, you can refer to this link. Okay, alright, so this is the pamphlet. It's about the growth from 2018 to 2020. Okay, so you can refer to this chart also. Alright, okay, we go for this is another reading materials. You can refer to the channel YouTube. Okay, all right. Okay, so and then we move forward into the UK inflation since 2000. Okay, so this is the graph of inflation rate in the UK, United Kingdom. Okay, so it's not about we discussing the UK country, but currently we don't have a specific data on Malaysia lah. Just for the sake of teaching and learning, we refer to the UK punya data. Okay, as far we learn lah. Okay, and then starting from 2000 up to 2009. Okay, we have the CPI and RPI. So CPI is Consumer Price Index, and RPI is a Retail Price Index. Okay, as you can see that the Retail Price Index keep on increasing, and then the Consumer Price Index, okay, must be below this retail price. And if your Consumer Price Index jump above the retail price index, so that's why we have the recession. This is the time that they are currently on the recession period, because of the price index, it keep on growing above the retail price index. So that is the, we call it as a recession. Okay, okay, so what is another factor in causing the inflation? We call it as a demand pull inflation. Okay, so demand pull inflation is about economy, okay, that have a full employment, okay, lead to the increase in a price level. Okay, so demand pull means that the price keep on growing. Okay, so at the peak of the occasion, all right, the price level will keep increasing, and then the purchasing power keep on depleting. Okay, means that they will be affecting in the recession. And then this another cause is the cost push inflation. So and you have a demand in order to producing more goods, all right, so you have a cost. So the cost in order to producing the goods must be maintained lah, because you need to maintain the price, all right. And then when your cost of producing the goods keep on increasing, also it will affect to the total price of that goods. Okay, so at the peak condition, the cost will keep rising, okay, and then your total product price is also keep on rising. And then at the end of the day, so the recession, when your price is go much higher towards more than the demand. Okay, so that we call it as a cost push inflation. All right, so I have discussed earlier. Okay, what is the item in cost push inflation? Is the rising wages, import price, raw materials. So this is the cost of to producing the goods. Okay, and then profit push inflation. Okay, and we have the declining productivity. Okay, and this is the item that is not within the manufacturer itself. Okay, it's come from the rules and regulation. Okay, so what else could cause inflation? Okay, this is another factor that affecting the inflation lah. So first of all, it's about your rising prices. We call it as a real estate price. It's not about house only. Okay, so the real estate price keep on going. Okay, but the employee need to have a house. Okay, in order to maintain your house, so that is the additional cost. Okay, you need to pay your rent, or if you buy your house, keep on increasing, so which means that you have a additional cost. So that will cause inflation. Okay, and then this is affecting by the central bank lah. Okay, if let's say for example the central bank keep on printing more money, so the inflation will of course will go up. Okay. So cost to society. All right. So basically, what is the cost toward the society? Is about inflationary growth is unsustainable. Okay. So that inflation will affect the society as a whole because of they keep on rising. Okay, the society have not the purchasing power. Okay, so that's why it will impose a several costs. And then inflation also discourage investment. Okay, you don't have the purchasing power. Okay, you don't have the holding power. Okay, holding investment power, so that you cannot reinvest. So which means that investment very needed investment in order to push the economic to reinvest and what we call it as a to growth the economic. Okay, investment is very important. All right, so basically all of the businesses, all of the economic growth need some investment in order to keep on going. Okay, but let's say for this inflation, okay, keep on rising, so you don't have the purchasing power, so you don't you need to use the 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 the, the, the price sorry the money you have into the purchasing power. All right, so you will reduce the investment, so that's why the inflation will discourage the investment. All right, and then inflation also can reduce real income. All right, let's okay, as I mentioned earlier. Okay, if you have a household salary about 1000, okay, so keep on rising of the goods will reduce the purchasing power, so also in the other hand it will reduce the real income. Okay, and inflation can erode saving. Of course, when we talk about the investment, household investment, of course it will affect to the saving. Okay, right. So that is talking about inflation. Okay, so the inflation will affect towards the recession. Okay, recession, kegawatan, kegawatan. Alright, so then here we discuss on the business cycle. So when we have the recession, we call it as either is growth or decreasing. Alright, so basically we have the business cycle, which means that at the peak of your economic, we have the business cycle is a quite peak, and then at certain time with the effect of the recession, the economic will decreasing, keep on decreasing. Okay, at peak we call it as a peak point, economic expansion, the peak. Okay, so and then when you decrease your economic growth, we call it as a recession. So it will keep on going, either it's expand, which means that the economic is still growing, or it will reduce, or we call it as a recession. So this we call it as a business cycle. Okay, increasing, decreasing. Increasing is we call it as an expansion, decreasing we call it as a recession. Okay, so that cycle is keep on going, we call it as a business cycle. Okay, right. And then we move on into the productivity. What is meant by the productivity? The productivity meant by amount of acceptable work for employee to do each dollar they earn. Okay, all right. So and then the number of acceptable product manufactured with a given amount of resources. Okay, so we can refer to this both item. We have two items. Okay, so which means that the first thing is about a dollar or a money you earn, and then the product you can be manufactured. Okay, all right. Okay, so how to improve productivity? Basic way in moving the productivity is to increase the amount of output without similar increase in input. Okay, that is the basic definition lah, how to improve the productivity. Okay, either if you cannot increasing the output, okay, you can decrease the cost without decreasing the amount of output. So you have two items. Okay, first you need to increase the output without interrupting the cost or the input. Okay, increase output without interrupting the input. Another thing is that you decrease cost without affecting the output. You have two items. Okay, so by these two items you can increase the productivity. Okay, so what you can do in order to improve your another thing to improve the productivity. Okay, this is the item lah. Okay, right. So many employees are fearful of productivity. Okay, because many organizations make them by laying off some employees and giving extra work to remaining employees. Okay, so that is the what you call it is the taboo inside the productivity. But basically it's not that. Basically is that if you have a tremendous idea in order to improve your productivity, which means with the additional of AI, artificial intelligence, or additional of robotics, so also it can increase the productivity, not only by laying off the employee, but it based on the creativity lah. Okay, and then constraint on productivity. Okay, so some of the most important constraints are management limitation. Okay, so it's not only the employee, the employer also affect to the productivity lah. Okay, and then of course employee attitudes and skill lah. Okay, in order to keep on going, so you need to have the more skilled worker. Okay, and then we have the government regulation and union rules. Okay, alright, so we can go one by one. Alright, management limitation, of course, as I mentioned earlier, it's not only based on the employee, okay, it's based on the employer. Okay, so the employer need to have a better vision and mission. Okay, they must provide the better policy. Okay, and then that policy will be translated into the standard operating procedure. Okay, so that policy come from the management. If your management limited by that creativity to provide better policy, so it will constrain the productivity. Okay, and then we have, of course, employee. Employee is the main heart of the production. Okay, the employee will do the work, but it will constrain if they have the not good attitudes and also the less skill. Okay, so how to improve the employee is that you need to have a proper training in order to increase the skill. Okay, and then another thing is that the government regulation lah. Okay, so basically the interruption of government, okay, either is good or is bad, depend. Okay, but all the regulation will impact towards the productivity. For example, during this pandemic, okay, the company, the manufacturer cannot operate at a 100% capacity. Okay, so at a 60% of employee. So basically that regulation will affect towards the productivity lah. And then a certain company, a certain manufacturer, okay, have their own unions. Okay, the union also have their own, we call it as a standard agreement. Okay, the standard agreement is the rules lah. So that rules also either it increase the effectiveness, the productivity, or also it can be a constraint toward the productivity because of the all of the employer is being need to follow the union rules. Okay. Okay, unemployment and the labor force. Okay, in Malaysia, alright. So it's not only at the US. In Malaysia also, what we call the labor force is a person who are at least 16-year-old, okay, unemployed or unemployed looking for a work. Okay, so that we call it as a labor force and unemployment. Okay, a working age person who is not looking for work is considered voluntary unemployed and is not included in the labor force. Okay, so basically the term give you means that a person who are looking for a job. Okay, a person who are not intend to look for a job is not classified as labor force. Okay, dalam bahasa Melayu kita panggil pemalas. Senang. Okay. Alright, so that is inflation and productivity. So we move on into the cost of living. Okay, so cost of living. Okay, so what is the cost of living? Cost of living is how much you pay for house, gas, food, clothing, and other everyday items. That is your basic needs. Basic is not about the luxury needs. Basic need. So that basic need is the cost of living. Okay, the luxury one is not necessarily. Okay, this is we talk about the basic. Alright, so this is the common cost of living in Malaysia. So the food cost, of course, food is the one of the basic item. Housing, okay, transportation, healthcare, personal care, utility. Okay, so before this, the utility is only based on the electricity and also the water supply. But current situation, utility including internet. Okay, so that is the utility. And then if you are married, okay, you have a childcare and educational cost. Okay, and then the last one will be personal expense. Okay, so for a father, okay, for a father receiving for example, you have 1,000 salary. Okay, so you need to divide it into 8 item. Your 1,000, you receive 1,000, you need to divide into 8 item. The 1/8 item is the personal expense. The another 7 to 8 item of your salary is about this item. It's not about you. So your father is a hero. It's not all about him. It's about his family. Okay. Alright. So this is an example belanjawanku released by the government of Malaysia. Okay. So what is a belanjawanku? Belanjawanku is a guideline in order to maintain your cost of living. Okay. So what is in the item of belanjawanku? So this is the item. Okay. So for a single or for a elderly couple or married couple. Okay. So this is the item. Okay. So this is the example of belanjawanku. For single. Okay, estimate per month. Okay, alright. Couple, married couple. Okay, this is without children. Okay, one child, estimate about 6,000. If you are married with 2 children, you have 6,000. It's about 7,000 per month. Okay, so what does that mean? Don't get married. Okay, depend on you. You need to plan it properly. So this is some calculation you can do by yourself. Okay. So suggestion: budgeting, saving, and investing. Okay, saving and investing. Okay, so basically this is a common. So you must have the 6-month emergency fund rules. Okay. So basically, when something happens towards you, you can still manage to find work, okay, within this 6-month period, and then during that time, also you can fulfill your needs, okay, your basic needs. So that's why we need the 6-month emergency fund rule. Okay. Right. So the question is, in order to find your 6-month rules, what is your saving? Okay. So this is the saving lah. Okay. How is saving? So basically, this is a you start to have more saving lah. Okay. This is example saving for a it's not expenditure for not right condition. Okay. Alright. So this is the example cost of living, the highest cost of living. Okay. And the first one is at the Angola. Okay. Okay. This is example also cost of living. Okay. Lowest cost of living. Okay. So in Georgia is number 1. Okay. Apa? Nak pindah sana? Jom. Lowest cost of living. Okay. So so this is the support by the government. Okay. BRIM. Alright. I'm not going to comment further on this topic. So this is the example of cost of living for your further reading. Okay. And then this is the AKPK. Alright. So basically, you need to have AKPK when you are losing your daily financial. It's not daily. It's about your financial management. Okay. When you lose your financial management, you need to refer to AKPK. So AKPK will rearrange all of your finance, okay, and they will allocate to your finance. Alright, they will help you, okay, manage your finance, right, with a certain time of period. Alright, so at the end of the day, you can have your financial freedom. Okay. So this is the item inside the AKPK. Education, counseling, and management program. Okay. So this is an example. Okay. So how to save your money? Okay. So this is the pamphlet. Okay. Another pamphlet. Okay. You can refer to this slide. Okay. So how you spend your bonus wisely? So this is your slide. You can refer to this slide. I will skip. Okay. Skip to this item. Okay. Item. Okay. So additional reading. Okay. For your item. So this is the how you can save 2,000 per year. Okay. Alright. This the continuation. Okay. So how to put aside, allocate a certain amount of your salary. Okay, for your saving. Right. So this is another terms. Okay, and then this is the way a big family can save money. Okay, so is your car necessary? Okay. This is a financial management. Okay. Alright. So that is on the cost of living, and then we proceed into the financing. Okay. So in order to buy the house, okay, so this is the scenario. Let's say for example your house is about 100,000. Okay. So it's not only the house is 100,000, but you need to know that the additional cost, and that which is your down payment, legal fees, stamp duty, loan document, legal fee, stamp duty. Okay, and then this is the total entry cost, which means that if you want to purchase the house at 100,000, so you need to have money at about 13,000. This we call it as the entry cost. Okay. So if you want to buy 600,000 houses, so you need to have 83,000 cash money, okay, for entry cost. Okay, that is for cost how to buy a house, and this is for education. Okay, so which means that if you have your children, so you need to plan how you want to give education to your children, because all of the education keep involving a certain cost. Okay, so this is the total cost. Okay, this example is in Canada lah. Okay, but in Malaysia is a quite similar lah. Okay, so source of finance, we have two types. Okay, we call it as the internal and external. Okay, so internal is within you. Okay, which means that if you have a certain saving, you can use it. Okay, but if you don't have enough saving, you can use the external, which means that you need to have a personal loan or loan. Okay, so this is the source. You have your saving, either it's come from your profit, sale of stock, fixed asset. Sale of fixed asset, what is meant? Jual tanah, jual rumah. So that is one of the fixed asset. Okay, kutip hutang. Okay, so this is owner investment. Okay, and then profit. Okay, sale of stock. Okay, and then sales of fixed asset, as I mentioned earlier. Either you have your house need to be resale, so that you have a additional income. Okay, debt collection. Okay, so this is the example of external source. Okay, either it come normally the majority come from the bank loan. Okay, right. So this is the most frequent tools that people use lah. Okay, and then we have the overdraft. So this is for businesses. Okay, this facility is for businesses, it's not for individuals. Okay, years before, I think about 2013 2014, okay, bank offer overdraft for individuals at that certain period of time, but currently the bank has revoked. Okay, it overdraft facility for individuals. It's only offered to the businesses. Okay, additional partners reinvest in you. Share issues. Okay, if you have purchased the share, you can sell it. Okay, this is we call it as a saham. Okay, leasing means you you sewakan. Okay, then you have the purchasing power. Hire purchase. Okay, you sell what you have. Okay, mortgage. Alright, mortgage is much more similar with hire purchase. Mortgage works with the real estate. Okay, you can refinance your real estate. Okay, trade credit, buat loan, but it's similar with loan, but the credit, for example, you want to more credit, you can borrow from the credit card, so that we call it as a trade credit. Government grant, of course, it's not individuals, it's for the institutional. So this is the factor affecting choice source of finance. So the main item, you need to know what is your purpose lah. Okay, and then the duration of times. Okay, so how long you need to borrow it, and how long is the tenure in order you to pay your loan. Okay, the amount, the size of the loan, and also the ownership. Okay, so which means that if you want to develop your business, so you must know that that is your business. It's not in investing in your friend, for example. You cannot do that. So don't forget to pay your loan. Ada pinjam duit kat kawanmu sama, termasuk juga. Okay. OPR and loan. Okay, OPR is the interest rate. So that is the rate we will discuss further in chapter 6. Okay. And lastly, the example of calculator apps. Okay, so yang ni kamu boleh baca sendiri, calculator apps. Okay. Banyak dia example calculator app pakai Excel. Okay. Alright. So we have comes to the end of the presentation slides. Okay. You have any questions? Ada soalan? Ada soalan?
Tak ada, doktor.
Semua okey?
Okey.
Alright, saya stop recording